Hi guys, welcome to Random Lifestyle Vlog. Welcome to 2023, and we're starting this year with some proper decluttering. I'll be decluttering like my whole makeup collection and some fragrances as well. But we're going to start with eyeshadow palettes. I feel like there have been like so many new ones this year, so there are some that just need to go now. And we're going to start with, as you can see, Pat McGrath, and well, I'm not going to declutter anything from this brand. Most of these palettes are quite new, so I'm just going to show you what I have in here. This way you'll be able to see my whole palette collection as well. So I have 7 Mothership palettes. This is the Bronze Seduction. Next up we have, this is Moonlit Seduction, which is the newest one. This one is Midnight Sun. Those boxes are so beautiful. I'll never keep boxes, but these are just like works of art. This is the Divine Rose. Then we have, what is this? This is Utopian Dream. And then we have the Decadence palette, and the last one here is this one, and this is Sublime. So these are my 7 Mothership palettes. Then on top of that, I have 3 of those quads here. This is Interstellar Icon. This one is Ritualistic Rose. And here we have Bronze Borealis. So these 3 quads. And then here on the back, we have 3 of her Christmas palettes from 2020, 2021, and 2022. So there you go. And then we have these 2 5-pan palettes over here that were released in 2022 as well. So next up we have Natasha DENONA palettes, and again I'm not going to get rid of anything here. Do not worry, I do plan to get rid of quite a few palettes, but I'm just starting with these 3 brands. I'm not going to re-declutter. So Natasha DENONA, I have 3 large palettes. This is Biba palette, Trio Chrome, and then Gold. And then I have quite a few of those like mid-size palette, midi palettes. They are the best size if you ask me. So I have this Bronze palette here, Glam palette, Retro, Sunrise, Pastel palette. Then we have Zendo over here, Retro Glam, and this is my Dream palette. And then we have some of those like 5-pan palettes here, and this is Mini Retro. Then we have Mini Gold, this is that one. Mini Xenon palette, Mini Love, Mini Star palette, Mini Zendo, and the last one is Mini Metropolis. And then we have this 5-pan palette. This is not like a mini palette, it's like a full-size 5-pan palette. And this is eyeshadow palette number 2. So yeah, there's that. So this is the last pile that I'm not going to declutter. As you can probably guess, these 3 brands, which is Natasha DENONA, Pat McGrath, and Anastasia Beverly Hills, are my 3 favorite palettes ever, or palettes brands ever, and obviously there's nothing really I'd like to get rid of here. So what we have here is this is Rose Metals, then we have Amrezy palette, Sultry, this is a Nouveau palette, and we have JACLYN, Soft Glam, Norvina, Carly Bible, and the last but not least is the Primrose palette. Okay, so next up we have 2 brands. I'm going to go with Too Faced first. I have 3 of their like Christmas palettes, or like autumnal palettes. I think they're released actually like a little bit earlier in the year, and I do really love the fact that these 2 from 2020 and 21 are in these kind of tin boxes. Then this one, Pumpkin Spice Second Slice, the one from this year, is actually in a cardboard box, which, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. But as you can see, it's still in a box, so I haven't really tested it out properly. I might actually create a video with this palette and then trying some makeup. But yeah, I'm going to keep these 3 for now. I mean, I do really like these 2. This one I'm not really sure yet, but since I haven't tested it out, I can't really say much. And then I have this one, Rock and Roll, and this is Rock Candy eyeshadow collection, and I'm going to show you, why not. This is how it looks, and I'm getting rid of that one. I used it like once and it just doesn't work for me, so yeah. Even though I do really like the packaging, I think it's time to say goodbye. And then we have 3 palettes from Urban Decay. This is Urban Decay Wild Greens, and I do like it. I like it, but I don't love it. I'm still going to keep it though. I think I'm going to put this one on a maybe pile. Like, you know, I'm going to try it out a little bit more and then decide if I want it or not. To be honest, guys, last year when I did my declutter, I think all the palettes that ended up on like the maybe pile, I actually never used them again. So I think that pretty much tells something. So it's going on a maybe pile, and I think these were on a maybe pile, right? Like this next year, I'm pretty sure they were. So this is the honey palette and cherry palette, and I'm decluttering them. I haven't used them since. This one honestly doesn't really make much sense to me because it's like a proper, like a yellowy gold palette, and I just can't really create any interesting, I just don't seem to be able to create any interesting look with it. Whereas this one is actually quite pretty, but I do have palettes in those shades already, so it doesn't really seem like I really need it in my collection. So I'm decluttering these two. So next up I have these 2 palettes from PLOUISE, and I have to admit I haven't tried any of those yet, so obviously I'm going to keep them for now. So this is Vacation, and then we have It Takes Two. So these 2 are staying for now at least. Then we have 2 iconic London palettes, and they are actually really pretty. I like them both, but I don't really use them that much. So we have this one over here. This is Day to Slay. Yeah, that one actually looks really nice, so I definitely want to use this a little bit more. Let's have a look at the other one. The other one is Nice to Naughty, and it is pretty. But I'm not sure. I feel like I have something with a similar vibe already. Do you know what? This is going to go on a maybe pile, and we'll see if I use it or not. Yeah, maybe pile. And then we have 3 Morphe palettes, and this is JACLYN Hill. I mean, you can see how dirty it is, but it's like a white packaging, so it happens. This is actually a really beautiful palette with so many like really pretty kind of warm neutral shades, so I'm keeping that one. I actually really like this Jeffree Star palette as well, because look how crazy these colors are. But I think they're perfect for like spring or summer. So yeah, I'm going to keep that one as well. And this one is, I'm not really sure what the name of that one. Oh my gorge. And this one is actually a very beautiful autumnal palette, but I tried it on and it didn't really work out for me, so I'm getting rid of that one. So next up we have several palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the only one, a large palette that I have. This is Instant Eye Palette Smoky Eyes Are Forever. So this is the one from 2021. I really like it, so obviously I'm keeping that one. Then I have 2 of those kind of like, how would you describe it, midi palettes. They're like £6 in each of them. So this one is Easy Eye palette for the Charlotte Darling look. So there's that, and as you can see, I've been actually using it quite a lot, so obviously I'm keeping that one. And this is quite new to my collection. This is the Super Nudes palette, and I actually really love it for the properly like kind of nudie look. It's like all matte, but it's like it gives you like this perfect kind of nude eye look. So there's that, and then we have some quads here. So what do we have here? We have Pillow Talk, luxury palette of Pop's Pillow Talk. So these are like 2 different shades. Let me just show you. So this is a classic Pillow Talk. As you can see, I've been actually using that quite a lot. The luxury palette of Pop Pillow Talk is all shimmery. So there's that. Then we have Exaggerize. This is actually one of my favorites. You can tell definitely by how much of that I used. This is the Golden Goddess. So this one, to be honest, I don't love it as much as I wanted to. I tried to use a couple of times, but it doesn't really seem as pigmented as I would want to. So this is going on a maybe pile. I might keep it, I might give it one more go, but I'm not really sure about it. Next up we have the Rebel. So this is the green one. It's actually really pretty, but I don't really seem to use it that often. So again, maybe pile. I kind of feel like I do need to declutter a little bit of those like Charlotte Tilbury quads because I don't use all of them. Then we have the Bella Sofia. I actually really like it. I actually used it only once so far, so not much I can say, but it looks quite pretty. Then we have Walk of No Shame. This one is stunning. This one is actually really pretty. And then we have the Queen of Glow. So there's that. I like it too, so this one is staying. The Vintage Vamp. So yeah, there's that. And then we have Copper Charge. Oh, I like that one as well. So yeah. And there's one more here, and this is Dazzling Diamonds, a luxury palette of pops. And this one I am getting rid of. It just doesn't work for me. It looks pretty like that, but it just doesn't work for me. This color here, it just turns quite like, I don't know, it just looks dirty on my eyelids. So there's no point of me keeping it. I'm getting rid of this palette. So next up we have this Polish brand here. This is GLAMSHOP, and I have 4 palettes. As you can see, I'm obviously keeping them all. I haven't really played with them that much yet, but they do look really beautiful. So yeah, I'm keeping them all. Then I have something that I'm like almost regretting buying, and this is Tom Ford. These are Tom Ford quads, and I feel like, do you know what? They were so expensive. I actually got them at a reduced price, but I still feel bad. Like, I kind of don't want to get rid of them because they do look pretty, but I don't really feel like they're worth the money. So I just don't know. This one is African Violet. It does look pretty, right? But it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't look as good as I would want to. Then we have Leopard Sun. This one. And then the last one is Pretty Baby. So there's that. They do look pretty, but I just don't know. I think they need to go on my maybe pile because I do need to motivate myself to try and use them a little bit more, or just declutter them, because even though I feel so bad for like spending money on them, I do feel like there needs to be something done with that, right? So I need to either just start using these or just get rid of them. So maybe pile. So next brand is Huda Beauty, and I think this is the last kind of collection that I literally have. And I have like some random palettes, like single palettes. So yeah, Huda Beauty, the large palettes are amazing. So obviously I'm going to be keeping them. We have Mercury Retrograde here. Then we have Desert Dusk, Rose Gold palette. This is the remastered version. Then we have Rose Quartz and Naughty Nude, this one over here. So these are amazing. And then we have some of smaller 9-pan palettes, and this one is actually really lovely. This is Love Fest, so obviously I'm keeping that one. This is like an amazing quality. The large palettes are actually made in Italy, so their quality is very consistent. Whenever you get a 9-pan palette, it could be like a little bit hit or miss. Some of them, I mean, they're all made in China, but some of them are actually really good, like this one, for example, and some of them are not the best. Okay, next up we have the 3 nude 9-pan palettes. These are actually really good as well. They have like a really nice quality, and they are really beautiful, so I'm going to keep them for sure. Then we have this Khaki Haze palette. Let's have a look. Yeah, that one actually looks really pretty. I don't think I've been using it enough. So maybe just to motivate myself, I'm just going to put it on my maybe pile. Who knows? Maybe that would just motivate me a little bit more. Then we have Gemstone Obsessions, and to be honest, I don't use it like at all. I think this was on my maybe pile last year, again just to motivate myself to use it more, and I actually never used it, or maybe I used it once, so I think it's time to say goodbye to this palette. Then we have these 3 palettes over here, and I think I would like to keep them. The Emerald palette is stunning. I don't think I have anything like that in my collection, so that is beautiful. Then we have Ruby Obsessions, it's like a red palette, but like a very cool undertone, which again is quite unique. And then the Topaz Obsessions, that one is actually really pretty as well, but do I use it? Do you know what, the Topaz Obsession, this one is going to go on my maybe pile because I don't feel like I use it enough, and I do feel like there might be some eyeshadow palettes in my collection that are quite similar. So yeah, this is going in my maybe pile. And then we have this one over here, Mauve Obsessions. This was actually really pretty as well. So yeah, I'm keeping that one. Next up we have Toffee Brown, and yeah, I tested it out. It worked really nicely on my skin. So this is actually nicely pigmented as well, so I'm going to keep that one. But I'm not sure about the Python palette, to be honest. This one, it looks stunning, right? But it's not as pigmented as you would expect, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, this is definitely maybe pile again. I might give it one more chance, because I feel like I didn't retest it enough. I maybe used it once or twice, and I wasn't too impressed, so I'm going to try it a couple more times and then decide what to do with that. For now, maybe pile. And then lastly we have this pile of single palettes. I'm going to start with this one here. This is Lime Crime Venus XL2. I really like the packaging, by the way, but the palette is actually really pretty as well. I think I'm going to keep that one. This is like a perfect springtime palette, and now that I put the Iconic palette in my maybe pile, I think I might actually get rid of the Iconic palette, and I might keep this one. They will kind of give me like a similar kind of metallic pastel-y vibe. So yeah, there's that. I'm keeping that one. Then we have the palette from BOXY Charm, Hello Charmers. I actually like a couple of shades here, like this one here. It's actually really cool. It's very kind of like sparkly. So I'm going to keep that for these couple of shades are actually really cool. It's a good palette, by the way. The pigmentation is actually really nice here. Then we have this palette here by KEVYN, and I just don't know what to feel about it. I used to really like it, but this is a very kind of like muted palette, and I just don't know. I feel like this should go in my maybe pile, and I'll see if I like it, if I still like it or not. I feel like there are palettes I use a little bit more than this palette now. It's pretty, but I'm not really sure. So this one is going to my maybe pile. Next up we have this Downgazing palette, and I found it in my you know, maybe stuff from last year that I actually never got to use or test out again. So this is a pretty palette, but I do have palettes like that. I do like this Pandora shade though. It's actually again quite sparkly, but I'm not going to keep this palette just for one shade. So this is going to my Declutter pile. Next up we have this Smashbox eyeshadow, and again, it's very neutral, but it does not seem like pigmented enough for me to keep it. I do like the fact that we have like warmer shades here and then more like cool toned here. So this is like a really pretty kind of nudie look palette, and but yeah, I don't think this is the right one for me, so I'm decluttering that one. Next up we have SUQQU, and I don't know guys, I just don't really like this brand. This is the only eyeshadow palette I kept. I think I had like 5 of them, and I decluttered them last time, and this is the only one that I kept, but I just don't really see myself using it. I tried, it just doesn't really seem to work, so I'm decluttering this palette as well. Next up we have a palette from NARS. It's crazy to think that this is the only NARS palette I have. I really like it, so obviously this one is staying with me. Then we have some Tarte. This is again the only Tarte palette I have, but it's very basic, isn't it? But I do like it for that. It's something that you use sometimes, but I think everybody needs a palette like that. It's mostly matte, and you have some shimmers over here, so this is staying. Then we have this Cargo palette, and to be honest, as much as I like the shades, the pigmentation is just not there. So this one is going. I'm decluttering it. Then we have this Zion Hip Dot palette, and this is beautiful, and I actually really like it, but at the same time, again, I don't use it as much. I feel this has also been on my maybe pile, I think, last year. I haven't been using it ever since. I do have like many palettes that kind of like a similar, kind of like a similar vibe, so I feel like it's time to say goodbye to this palette as well. My Declutter palette is actually growing. It like almost collapsed now, so yeah, I don't think I'm doing that bad. Next up we have CIATE London, and this is the Editor palette, New England. Let's have a look. This one is actually really pretty. It has like some nice metallics here, but I'm not really sure if I use it enough. I mean, no, I don't really use it enough for sure. This I think should go on my maybe pile. Again, I'm going to test it out and see whether I'm going to use it or not, and then decide what to do with that. Okay, Okay, a few more left. This is the Velvet 59 by Paris Manning Beverly Hills doll. These are the shades. Very pretty again, but I just don't really see myself using it, to be honest. So I think I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think I'll be using it. Next up we have Pour Festival 2.0, and this one is actually really pretty again, but yeah, I haven't been really using it, so I'm decluttering this one as well. Okay, 4 more palettes. Here we have ILLAMASQUA, and this one is actually really nice. It's like a full matte palette. This one is slightly metallic, but most of the shades here are matte. I do like matte look sometimes, so yeah, I'm going to keep that one. I really like the autumnal vibe as well, so this one is staying. Then we have Laura Geller New York. This is iconic New York collection, Downtown Cool eyeshadows, and well, it is pretty, right? It's like a very cool toned palette. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't think I've ever used it. Should I declutter it or should I put it on my maybe pile? I don't know. Do you know what? I'm just going to put it on my maybe pile. I might actually maybe try and test the maybe pile palettes in the next couple of months, and then get back to you and tell you which one I'm decluttering and which ones I'm keeping. Because this one I feel like I don't think I've tested it properly. So I might give it a go and then get back to you. So maybe pile for now. And then we have 2 last palettes, Wonder Beauty Wondrous Seascape. It is pretty, but I just don't use it. So I think it's also time to say goodbye. And then the last palette here is Delilah. This is Damsel. And this palette, I mean, it's pretty, right? It's quite pretty again. I just don't know. If I don't know, I'm going to put it in my maybe pile. It's pretty, but I'm not sure if I need it that much. So yeah, maybe pile for now. So this is my declutter pile. There were 14 palettes on it, but I thought, you know, 15 is a better number to declutter, so I decided to get rid of this palette as well. This is the Laura Geller palette, and these are my choices. Have you tried any of these palettes before? Let me know if you have. Let me know what you think of my choices. I also have 13 palettes on my maybe pile now, and I'll be testing them in the next month maybe or so. And I'm just going to maybe film like an extra video with all my kind of like maybe products, because I feel like it just took me too long. Like it took me the whole year of not using palettes to decide to get rid of them, so there's no point to do that this year. I'm just going to test them out in the next month. But this is my declutter. These are the palettes I'm getting rid of. Let me know what you think about them. If you've tried any of these palettes and you love them, let me know as well. I would love to know your thoughts either way. Thank you very much for watching. For more beauty related content, check the videos on the screen. I'm going to see you very soon. Take care. Bye.